Greetings, everyone. So, I had some people ask questions. Basically, the state of the team, DQX going forward, what happened at ZenithXI, and my condition. And he kept asking me about it. As well as something else. Let me look through my... right. My stance on the latest dramas with apparently worldwide and something called Dragon Force. Is that another team? Or community? I'll say what I can on that. Let's start with state of team. So, I've noticed we've been getting more people in lately. I may actually have to clear a room on my friends list and the team list soon. It's kind of odd that we haven't been having an influx of people. Normally that only happens during the summer. So, for it to happen in the middle of winter, well, it's almost spring now. Actually, it is spring. It's unprecedented. Strange, really. I wonder if something happened. Or maybe some YouTuber did a DQX video and said something about it. Could be anything, really. But team is fine. We're level 56 now. I'm gonna see if I can try to do some team quests myself when I get spare time. I've been honestly sleeping a lot. A lot of sleep and recovery. I'll explain why later. But so far the team is fine, and I'm going to try to start putting in time to make more gold soon. I'm still recovering. To be honest, this is one of these moments where I'm going to be awake for hopefully long enough to finish through this. I've been on heavy sleep meds and other things due to my condition right now. But the team's fine. We're getting new members and some are returning. I made Chaos into a new Dark Knight. So now we got 3 active Dark Knights, 2 of them are semi-active, and 3 semi-active Paladins. I gotta get all these guys to start playing. Boyer especially. He's got a lot to catch up on. Clownfish also has a massive amount to catch up on. Windius hasn't been playing. Well, no, he's in and out. Yeah. I also gotta talk to Specs and his crew, and I gotta figure out what the hell Trunks is doing. I already know Lon / Akahito status. He's retiring for now. We'll see if he ever comes back. He was my first officer, after all. Let's see, next question. DQX going forward. So, expansion's coming in June. I'm still at 7.4 story. Again, I have been so extremely busy the last several months that now that I've got time, for certain reasons I now have time, I will try to focus on getting the gold I need to purchase the latest equipment set for me to go ahead and continue with the story all the way to where it is currently. Honestly, I just need to sit down and have a good 8-hour session of fishing, and I'll make all the gold, gil, money, zenny. So many currencies I keep remembering. I just need to sit down for one solid session of absolute fishing. 8 hours of fishing, and I can make enough gold. I'm sure of it. Since on average I make about 1.6 to 2.1 million gold per hour. And with the expansion coming, they're going to most assuredly increase the fishing cap, which will make fishing in that spot even easier. Getting big fish and king-size fish much more easily. It would drastically reduce the time it would take to catch 35 fish before going out and turning them in. Though I've noticed some JP players will actually fish them all up, and they would then just immediately log off, go on the Dragon Quest X app, and turn in the fish that way. Then they just log back on and keep at it. To be honest, I need to start fishing with the app more often. But once I have the equipment, you will be seeing the story quests for me. I'm sure many of you have already seen Excel and done them already. I know that a lot of you like watching mines because I have this reshade going on. It's in 4K. Perfect 60 frames per second. I have to video record to do this. Exalin, I believe, he streams, so his quality varies. Video recording isn't all that easy because depending on the location I'm at and how long I go about it, the video could go up to about 500 gigs in size. And then I have to use Handbrake to resize it to like 30 to 40 gigs without losing any of its quality. And that can take tremendous time, even with my powerful graphics card doing the encoding. But I will get there, and I will keep at it. It's just fishing is very, very dull, and I haven't been able to do it as much as I used to, like I did on Horizon XI with that fishing. So that fishing is practically brain cancer. I couldn't believe I was able to do it for 3 months straight, for 5 to 8 hours a day, for so long. Without wanting to kill myself, but to get through that, I had to drink a lot of alcohol just to get me through that month, this amount of fishing without going insane. Speaking of, what happened to ZenithXI? So you probably noticed I removed the ZenithXI channel and Lance left the Discord. Apparently I was falsely accused of something I didn't do. I think it was one of my friends or somebody in this Discord that I go to that belongs to a friend of mine. It's a weird Discord, but a lot of Final Fantasy 11 players or fans are in it. It's a general gaming Discord. My friend has a picture of Donald Trump as its PFB or whatever it's called for its Discord face or whatever. You know, it's basically like a meme Discord, but they do have serious talks of games. And Final Fantasy 11 is often brought up, particularly private servers. So basically, I tried to argue with staff of the Final Fantasy 11 private server moderation, who unfortunately they have been accused of and found evidence of multiple different crimes. Basically, a lot of things I looked into myself. So, I will explain this. Just understand, this is going to be very, very long. And if you want to skip to well, the two final questions of my condition and let's see, my stance on the whole drama thing, feel free. But otherwise, if you yourself are interested in Final Fantasy XI and its private servers, okay, just go ahead, get yourself a snack and a drink. I'll wait a couple of minutes. Just watching this digital sundown here. Let's just start to check back in. Alright. So, as some of you have known me a long time, you probably knew that one phase I had when I was playing on Horizon XI for at least a good 6 or 7 months, I believe. But then something happened where I was falsely accused of fish botting. I sure as hell wasn't. It was absolutely painful fishing every day, manually by hand. Basically, doing it with one hand while watching Netflix or doing something on the other hand with my phone, or just drinking. Well, again, fishing at the same time, since I'm good at multitasking that way. To be quite honest, if I wasn't able to do that, there's no way I would be able to fish each day. Maybe at maximum, maybe 100 fish. If I was just straight up just fish, but that's it. I would much rather be material farming or figuring out something else to make money off of. Anyway, I digress. So, what happened was... Okay, this is one of the problems with these private servers. 2 members of a link shell that is ran by 2 of the GMs of the Horizon staff came into my usual fishing spot. Up until then, most people basically stayed away from the fishing spot because they knew I was always there, and I had the timing of basically how many fish of each is there down to a science. I would know exactly when they're all fished up, even if there was 1 or 2 others fishing them as well. I would keep track. And as soon as I knew that they were all out, I would then immediately switch to a different fish and start fishing them up. And I would likely catch about 6 to 10 of them or so before the 1 or 2 other persons figure it out and then switch over. They would often get frustrated since I could catch them faster than they could, so I was doing it for so long. So I ended up with a lot more than them, and they would just keep getting frustrated and eventually leave. Well, 2 members of this GM Link show came in. I could tell they had a yellow pearl. I recognized it. Didn't bother me any. I just continued doing what I was doing. But eventually those 2 started getting mouthy. Clearly getting upset because I was clearly and basically out fishing them. So, They got their GM friends to harass me, which is completely and utterly against their own rules. They made up shit saying that I was fish spotting when I wasn't. I responded to them each time, but they didn't care. They went and permanently banned my account, despite the 6 months of painful work I put into it. Horizon XI is known for corruption like this. Their hosts and the GMs and the GM link shells have taken advantage and abused their GM powers to get server firsts and many NM and H&M kills for their link shells, basically cheating and getting claims all the time, despite there's a claim. They have a claim system in place that supposedly gives everybody a chance at the claim, not just the first person who managed to get a provoke off. But the GMs are able to manipulate it to where it always goes to one of their people, if they so choose to. Eventually, the GM link shells got everything they wanted, and then they stopped going to those NMs and H&Ms altogether, allowing other link shells that do not have GMs of the server in them to finally be able to actually get stuff. It's not fair. It's one of the major problems faced in Final Fantasy XI private servers, and I will go more into that later. So, after that, I started researching every now and then into the private server scene of Final Fantasy XI, and I found a tremendous amount of disturbing things. You would think it would surprise me, but considering that I played Final Fantasy XI during the Golden Era days, basically launch up until near the end of Wings, you think I'd be surprised, but I'm not. I've seen this exact kind of behavior before. About half of the link shells they would have found way back then during actual retail classic era, half of them would have extremely selfish and greedy leaders and officers who would form an inner circle of their link shell, and they would try to get everything for their inner circle first and basically give scraps or whatever's not needed anymore to anybody outside of the inner circle. Even if they were using a DKP, Dragon Kill points, or some sort of point system, things would get manipulated. Generally these link shells were always unheard, or basically hated, and the bad actors in those link shells are normally notorious, and their names will always be known. So much so that they would never get the fame or recognition that they wanted, and thus they've always felt like shit because of it, because they couldn't get that fame and legendary status that they want, but because of their shitty attitudes or shitty personalities or just generally being bad at the game, they couldn't reach that status like some players did who were actually honorable and good, kind players. What if I told you that most of the Final Fantasy XI private server staff and hosts and admins and GMs and all that, what if you told you they consist mainly of these very shitty people? Well, it's true. A lot of these players who played back then it couldn't get anywhere or failed to get anywhere because they got called out or destroyed by the community because of their shitty personality, their selfish outlook, and how they treated the game as a second life because their real lives are complete garbage or shit. And they were using a game to get the recognition and satisfaction they think they deserve. Well, those people are the ones that are running the majority of Final Fantasy XI private service scene. That includes the staff of the Final Fantasy XI private server Reddit. I looked into these individuals. I talked to people who knew them back then, talked to people who knew them now. I had to use Wayback Machine to find some websites that were either demolished, discontinued, or just outright practically erased due to what these bad actors have done to them, to find out more information. So, I'm not going to go into full details, but these people, they are extremely bad people. Final Fantasy XI private servers has been worked on for, I believe, over 14 years now. More like, yeah, about 12 or so years now. But they still have not been able to perfect all mechanics and gameplay modes of the game's third expansion. Much less have much of anything working in the fourth expansion, Wings of the Goddess. Apparently, they're still having trouble getting Besiege and Salvage, two important modes in the third expansion, particularly Salvage, working correctly. You think after all this time and years and so many talented people coming in to help with the whole project, they would have been able to get all the way up to Abyssia or so, ready to go, all completely fleshed out, done, bug-free. Anybody could then just take the LSB Land Sea boat emulation of it, make their own server with their own rules and tweaks, and be done with it. But no. And the reason for that is because of these bad actors. They've been hindering progress because they want to try to claim credit for themselves, and they would often try to claim credit for the work, or they would either destroy it or impede it constantly to try to basically manipulate it for themselves, or to try to do something themselves entirely, like what ZenithXI tried to do with their own version of LSB, and they greatly failed at it. It just did not work. And now they had to spend 3 entire years rebasing the server to finally get Treasure's Alt Regain out for them, which is apparently soon. And it's all because of one little man, the server host himself, having a superiority complex. That's what they call it. It also didn't help that he had a well-known sexual harasser as one of the leading devs on his team, constantly causing trouble, doxing people, shutting down websites, all because they had complete and irrefutable evidence of his wrongdoing. Eventually, that guy got fed up and went off to make his own server called DQX. the other allegations, and there are many, because there are many server owners who apparently have doxed people, have broken the law, and done many other horrible things. There's also the fact that HorizonXI once goes against their own rules and policies, and the server host and his GMs actually have been actively doing underground RMT activities, generating gil through GM commands and selling it to players, certain players, for large amounts of money. It's part of the reason why the HorizonXI servers economy is so extremely inflated. Too much gil, not enough sync. Doesn't help that the ones RMTing the gil are able to create it out of thin air just through a GM command. And because of that money that they're making, the person who is creating the bots for players or RMT to make the gil artificially so that GMs don't have to keep using the command, he's getting paid off. And Final Fantasy XI private server mod staff, they're also getting paid off too, to silence anybody who speaks out against these bad actors in the servers. It's why they banned my account, despite I spoke with them and told them I was breaking absolutely no rules. They just wanted to silence me, like they've done many others, because they're being paid to do it by HorizonXI, because Eric wants that glory. He never was able to get it back then in the classic era because of his extremely shitty personality. And now he's basically ruining private servers scene for everybody, including other private servers, in order to get that glory he never was able to get, including sabotaging people's work, taking credit for other people's work, and other wrongdoings. It's unfortunate that Lance had to make that decision, despite I was there from the beginning for him when he first opened up that Discord. And I spread word of mouth of ZenithXI and got you guys, our community, involved with ZenithXI, getting his first 50 or so members, which helped balloon it to the, I believe, 800 he now has today. Or was it 600? So, and all because a friend of mine said something against the Final Fantasy XI private service staff, and sadly, I mean, Lance has good intentions, but as much as he wants to protect his community, and thus he can't be seen associating with me, in the end it will not matter. Because if Kipling and his server, or Eric and Horizon, decides to see that ZenithXI is a threat, they will manipulate the narrative and have FFXI private server Reddit do whatever it takes to lambast ZenithXI and get it shut down, if they so choose to. Again, they could just pay off Zenith, they could pay off private servers Reddit with all the RMT deal that they're making. So again, if Lance, if you're hearing this, I know you mean well, man, but you gotta understand, Final Fantasy XI private server Reddit is not on your side. They can and will try to take you down if Eric or Kipling or anyone else decides to. ZenithXI ever gets popular enough to be a threat to them. It does not matter how well you try to protect the community. They're going to do it if they want to. That's just the kind of shitty people that you're dealing with right now. And I'm sorry you had to do that and cut ties with me, despite all the help I've tried giving you. I went and did testing for you for your alpha server. But in the end, you basically lost resources for nothing. If Final Fantasy XI private server Reddit wants to unboss you, they will. And they'll find one way or another to do it. You can't control it. That's just how the private server state is now. And it's never going to change. As for if I'm going to play on ZenithXI, despite what happened, I'm not sure anymore. My health is actually in a much worse condition now because of what Lance did or had to do. Again, I understand his intentions, but he doesn't know what he's really dealing with here with these guys and what these people are willing to do for their fake virtual glory that it never was able to get back then in the actual real Final Fantasy XI servers. I'm tired. If I play on ZenithXI, I don't know. I have to see, since now I can't do ZenithXI community events. I won't be able to join any LSs that has the GMs in them. That means it's going to be anywhere from 3 to 5 or so of the top LSs. It's going to make my playtime there extremely difficult. I won't be able to give a voice to what I think should be changed, or what I think is good or bad or whatnot. Despite I agree with practically everything that Lance is doing for the server, all the changes I agree with. All the additions, subtractions, changes. So far, Lance and Sark has done, I agree with. I think it's really good, these modern improvements, because they make a lot of sense. It's just a shame now that I can't be involved in helping them anymore with it. So I gotta think about it, because Horizon XI costed me about 6-7 months of my life because of power abusive GMs just couldn't help themselves. And I know Lance is going to put in a bunch of safety measures to prevent his GMs and hosts and developers from abusing power. But there's always going to be that one person that's going to abuse it anyway. That one person will cause damage before he's caught and punished. And unlike Eric, who would not punish his GMs and developers, despite they did obviously wrong things, I know Lance will immediately punish, if not remove, any GMs that abuses their powers or wrongfully bans or sets up a ban for a person. Because Lance isn't after glory like Eric is. And I convince all of you, if you still want to play Final Fantasy XI, despite the state of the community it is right now, go play on ZenithXI when it's out. Because I know Lance will be a very fair person, unlike all the other hosts that I've seen and investigated on. But again, as for me playing, I'm just not sure. I don't know if I want to risk 6, 12, 18, 24, 32, 64 months of my life trying to complete and do the things in Final Fantasy XI that I was not able to do way back then because I was a novice to MMORPGs back then. I didn't have any of the experience, bravery, or experience back then like I do now. And I sure as hell did not have the patience back then either. I had no patience back then. I could not craft. I could not fish. I remember farming gobu cuttings practically all day long just to try to make some gil off of them and grow some of them to try to make elemental ores which sell decently well, just to make enough gil to try to go for my Aegis. It didn't work out back then. That's enough of Zenith and that. The drama situation. Okay. So, I've been getting some messages, and I've been checking the rant tower. Just because I haven't been around talking doesn't mean I haven't been keeping an eye on things. Despite I keep going in and out of consciousness due to the pain meds and the sleep medication. Because I've been... I'll explain that later. Just need to get this out before I fall asleep again. As you know, I created Team Moon 4 years ago now. Basically during the early days of Clarity. Because Worldwide and Dragon's Den, Worldwide more especially, had problems. The moderators of Worldwide behaved like typical Discord mods do. See, here's the thing about human beings. Most humans are basically followers. Okay. And then you have some that are leaders. Just like with monkeys, which we were evolved from, there's always an alpha, and then there's always the tribe. The followers. They follow the alpha, the leader. The leader's often the strongest, most agile monkey. In today's world for humans, okay, our leaders are those who, well, nowadays, half of them buy their way into the office, but they're either rich or they're just damn good leaders. They know the right decisions to make. They have the patience to make those decisions. And it's why our government keeps getting tied up in discussions all the time, to be honest. Enough of this here. So, most humans don't know how to handle whatever power they get, as little or as fake as it is, without abusing it. Kind of a similar situation with GMs in these private servers. They get even a modicum of power, no matter how fake, digital, or real, or whatever it is. They will abuse it without thinking of any consequences or how it could hurt everybody else, period, at all. Because it makes them think they're invincible, or it makes them think they're important. Basically, they misuse power because they don't know how to use it responsibly. They should never have it in the first place. They are just not leaders. Now, I know a lot of you probably had misgivings or dealings with Worldwide, particularly their moderators, either talking over you or talking, basically bashing against you, ridiculing you for your opinions. If you try to have an argument, they talk you down. They don't try to be understanding, and if you push them far enough, they just straight out ban you, even if you're not breaking any rules. They don't care. They just see you as an annoyance, and then they kick you. They kick you and not realize that they're the only server with people in a community of players playing this game, this niche game that's for us, talking about this game. And now you got nowhere to go, no one to talk to, no one to play this game that you wanted to play for so long with. Now you got to try to find some friends or just give up the whole thing. And Worldwide, see, he does that. These meds are really kicking in. I might have said Team Moon at some point. No, it's... And Worldwide was notorious for that, at least back then. I don't know what Worldwide is like now. According to a bunch of people who talk to me to complain about them, they didn't change much, apparently. It's still got moderators that are on power trips that will ban people at drop of a hat. Only now, this time, you have 4 to 5 other choices of servers to go to in case that ever happened to you. But apparently another one of those choices that I've been hearing about, Dragon Force or something? Dragon Defense? I don't know. They have moderators that got the same kind of attitudes and impatience and misuse of power as Worldwide does. I haven't seen enough evidence of that, or people coming up with testimonies on it. So far, I had maybe 2 people tell me about this. And that's them. I'm focused on me. This server. Our server. And our official partnership with Dragon's Den, who, after a lot of deliberations with Cranberry, I decided to cooperate with them and allow you guys to do whatever you want with them. You can do events with them, team up with them. You can even go join them if you want. You can always come back here, you know, if you feel like it. It does not bother me in the slightest if somebody leaves Team Moon to go join Worldwide or Dragon Force, Dragon's Den, whatever. We're just here in case you don't like something or you get kicked and then you come back. Because you see, each one of those discords, I guess, had people that misuse power, kicked for petty reasons or whatever. How many people do you think I have actually kicked or banned from Team Moon? So far, except for lately, alright, it's been only 4. I've only kicked, permanently banned 4 people, and the entire, that isn't spammers or botters or hackers or whatever those guys are. 4 actual people from Team Moon in the entire 4 years I ran this Discord. One of them, okay, was a very strange kid who kept joining a team, rejoining, leaving, joining another team, coming back, and he would do it over and over and over again in a 3 to 4 month cycle. He would join, he would get fussy about something, leave, come back to the Discord again a few months later, eventually, and then he would join in on team events, use up our resources, leave, join again, join events, use our resources, leave. Then eventually we got fed up with it. One of my officers kept an eye, basically tracked him. 2 officers did. And I informed him, next time he comes in again, please let me know so I can permanently ban him with his IP address. Which they did. And I banned him. Second person. The reason I banned him was because, despite he was with the Discord for about 2 years, he was very strange. He would say extremely inappropriate things at the most inappropriate times. I know what his thought process was. I can tell what kind of mental, what his mentality was. And I didn't mind it at all. But many other members came up to me citing how extremely uncomfortable they are with him. Some were just outraged at some of the extremely insensitive things he would say at times. Didn't help that he had the mask as his avatar for his Discord. At first I just laughed it off for a while, long while. Says, just, let it go. Alright, he's a crazy kid. But eventually, enough was enough. He kept saying one insensitive thing after another. And I just had no choice but to ban him. Shortly afterwards, because of the Manami situation that I have, I'll explain more of that in the condition, the last question today. I've had to ban 2 others. They were around with the Discord for a long while as well. However, these 2 others took Manami's side and started insulting me, telling me how I should think and feel. And the thing about these 2 is they're both women. They're both in polyamorous, polygamy, whatever relationship, where they each have a boyfriend and a girlfriend. And they both treat their boyfriends as... I don't know how to describe it. They don't treat them like they're actual men. They treat them like they're subservient, I don't know, just less than a man. This might be something new here in the United States. Again, they're both American women. I don't know how relationships and stuff has changed lately, since I don't really pay attention to that stuff. But the things they said to me, and the things they said on how men should be treated now by women, it made me extremely uncomfortable. I don't believe men should be treated like that in any kind of relationship. And it was very, very disturbing. And them taking Manami's side, despite I put up with her for 11 years and did things for her that her friends, quote unquote, would never help her with or do with her on. Well, I'll explain that later, but yeah. So I booted them both. And that was the end of that. Team Moon is a safe haven. I created it because of Worldwide failing, well, the leader of Worldwide failing to appoint appropriate moderator representatives that knew how to use their power correctly, how to be patient, how to follow their own rules. Again, failed to do that. Instead, just gave moderationship to whoever his best friends were. He didn't care. Despite what they were doing to banning people that they just didn't like, and basically singling them out of the community, one of the only communities, is just wrong. And I make sure that none of my officers will outright ban someone unless they really, truly, absolutely deserve it. And even so, they have to go through me first. And I will review it. I will look at it. And if the person really does deserve a ban, it will be based on him breaking the rules. But I will always give a warning first, and I give several warnings. I tend to give up to 3 warnings before I do a ban. Can't say that for, well, Worldwide and that other community. They'll just ban you on the first offense, from what I've heard. They still do. Without caring about the consequences. Anyway, moving on. Final question, because I can't keep my eyes open much longer. Losing Manami. I've known her for 11 years. I've known her since Final Fantasy XIV 2.0. That's where I met her. She was a very, very different person back then. She was bubbly, flirty, very fun, likes to try out all sorts of things. She was not angry or pessimistic or anything like that at all. She was basically nothing like what you guys may have known her as. But 3 years later, and then over time, I've noticed her changing. She would get angry more and more often. She would complain about stuff, start to rage quit on things. Her political views kept changing. She started hating men more and more and more over time. And eventually, her other friends would not play any game that has any semblance of difficulty with her. Because they were tired of putting up with her angry rage outs whenever something BS or unfair happens in a game they're playing. Because when it does, she will start raging out constantly. They couldn't take it anymore, so they stopped playing those games with her, and And whenever she asked them, hey, are you going to play this or that, they would say no. And then they would proceed to going invisible on Steam and disconnecting the activity for Discord to play those games in secret, so she wouldn't know. Basically, her friends became a bunch of yes men. They would just agree with anything she says. They would be silent when she rants. They basically behave in a way that I can barely tolerate because it's cowardly and it's just submissive. And I would barely tolerate it. Ceciliantas, he would probably have called them out and told them what losers they are. And all sorts of things. I know Ceciliantas would really rail into them. He saw that behavior. He would not take that shit. As for me, when I was playing any hard games with her, she starts to rage out. Instead of being staying silent, I would just tell her the facts and tell her the logic behind it. And whether I agree with it or disagree with it depends on how I see it. Sometimes I'll agree with her, sometimes I'll disagree with her. But that's only from my opinion on whatever it is that's causing her anguish and causing her rage out. Very often she doesn't like that because she's used to her other friends disagreeing to everything she says. I'm pretty sure it's those submissive friends of hers that convinced her to let me go, thinking that it would be better for me. Instead, it caused me massive pain. And losing my community standing with ZenithXI has caused me even greater further pain. And now I can barely play any of the games I have. I'll be honest with you guys, everything is boring to me now. I feel like I've seen and done it all. I've been playing video games for since I was a boy. Since the Nintendo ages. I've seen everything. Nothing surprises me anymore. I don't even remember the last time I was so engaged with the game that by the time I realized it, it's daylight is coming out outside. I haven't had that in a very, very, very long time. And usually, when you get so absorbed with a game like that you lose track of time, that means you're having fun. But any game I play, even Dragon Quest X, or anything I've been playing lately, I don't lose track of time. I just feel like I'm just going through the motions, and it just, I don't even think I'm having fun anymore, with anything. When I was playing with Manami, I was having fun at some level. You know, time would go by quicker whenever I was playing with her. So, I was having fun when she was still around and playing with me. But nowadays, now, I just don't see the point in it all. Nothing's a challenge to me anymore. Nothing is difficult. I play through Nioh 3 and I hear people on the forum say, hey, this and that boss is bullshit. Hey, this and that boss is too stupidly hard. And I'm going through these bosses one-shotting them, wondering, what the hell is this? Did I activate some sort of easy difficulty mode? Like, are we playing the same game? how are they having a hard time with this boss? And I come in and one-shot him with it, not even use maybe an eighth of my medicines. And then I go into Where Winds Meet, and I beat that 3-phase boss on my first attempt. That everybody in the entire Reddit general discussions is screaming up and down, saying he's too bullshit, he's too hard. How the hell are we supposed to kill this guy if healing is completely nerfed and we only get 5 healing models? And I go in and one-shot him without even looking at any video to see how he works. Because I'm so used to the parry system from all the other games that are similar to it that it might as well be in slow motion to me. So generally, I've been sleeping a lot. Just recovering and sleeping. Because I'm bored. I was hoping for ZenithXI because at least in Final Fantasy XI, especially with the server Lance is making, there'll be some danger and maybe some excitement for once. Something I was missing. But now that it looks like I might not even be able to play on ZenithXI because I won't be able to join any league shells that has a GM in them, I'm just not sure if I'm going to be able to play it now. That alone is what's causing me massive... That is also what's actually causing me massive anguish. Along with losing my one and only best friend that I trusted. She did to me what I thought she would never ever do. Previous women in my life, all gamers, did the same thing. They stayed with me for a while, or for a few years or so, played games with me. We shared a lot together. I get the gifts. They sometimes get me a gift. But as soon as they feel that they're not having fun with me anymore, or they feel that they've used me enough, want to move on to some other guy, they immediately blacklist and ghost me. Despite how, no matter how well I've treated them. I just never expected Manami to do the same. So, between that, the ZenithXI situation, I'm feeling pretty dead inside, to be honest. I did see a therapist. He basically stated that my deteriorating health is because I am, well, he says I'm losing the will to live. After talking to me, I told him how I'm just bored with everything, that I'm working a job that doesn't suit me, I live alone, my one and only real hobby other than working out is just boring to me now, and all I really do now is just go home. I might play something, or I watch Netflix, or I just go to sleep. Lately it's been a lot of sleep because of the injury. I just have nothing left to look forward to in life. Manami, and to some extent ZenithXI, was what honestly kept me going. But now that I've potentially lost both, well, I know I've lost Manami, and I've pretty much lost ZenithXI. I have nothing to look forward to. Like the Dragon Quest X expansion that's coming. So, that's the situation. Anyway, this has been a long talk. I will see if I will come back at some point. I'm not sure yet. Right now I just trying to figure out what I want to do. Anyways, I can't stay awake much longer. I'm really tired. Hopefully I'll talk to you guys another time.